be basically covering a timeline of the World Health Organization's um, updates and current news and important things that were going on at the time. So, kind of leading up to um, the present day. I don't think it's going to be all in one video, because there's quite a bit, right? Um, just give me 1 second here to make sure everything is as it should be. Present day. All right. Looks good enough. Good enough to go anyway. So, yeah, we'll start with the latest one first, actually. This one here was from the 18th. And there's lots. Oh my god, there's so much. There's so much stuff happening, but it's not. It's not like it's really happening. major things are happening, like the world has never seen, and it's amazing that these guys don't have like some kind of better strategic plan in place. It's I'm not criticizing what they're, well, I kind of am criticizing what they're doing. Not that I could probably do a better job, because it's not just them, right? Like, they're relying on there's so many variables along the way. Like, there's so many levels of communication and data flow and information gathering. It especially countries where they're already having certain tensions, right? Like politically and economically, and it's high tension everywhere right now across the globe, and these guys are stressing very very much that everybody needs to remain calm. Don't panic, and they are stressing this. And with good reason, right? But they don't have the answers, and there's many reasons. But one of the main ones is just data gathering and data sharing. It's hard to get uh everybody on board globally. Like, this happened really quick, and there's a lot of speculation and a lot of reason. Even mainline or mainstream media news covering that China, for some reason, kind of delayed on their response to this. Now, everybody's kind of got their opinionated views on that, with good reason as well, right? Because nobody wants to be like, well, why the hell did they suppress it? What's going on? There's, why it opens up a whole new door of questions with no answers. So yeah, it's high tension everywhere, and there's a lot of speculation flying around. And it's not without good merit. There is some very sensitive topics that are being supported now widely among scientific community, and it's it's big, right? It's the biggest we're ever going to see. It's huge. Actually, huge isn't even a word. Monumental. um uh yeah, big. So, right into this, I guess. There's so much to talk about, and I could really literally talk for so long on this, because my side is also very highly skeptical. I'm not biased either way, but it's when you're starting to see this stuff compile up, and there's it's hard to deny that it's almost more of an issue than what they're claiming, right? It has to be, just considering the measures being taken and so on and so forth, and the global reaction to this. So yeah, we'll start with the latest one, and then we'll go back. We're going to go back to the 22nd, I believe. 22nd. And I took some time and I tried to gather this data as best as I could, and put something together that has some more of a flow. Because, yeah, I'm not a streamer by any sense, but I'm trying to just get this information out there, right? And I want people to be able to have more, I guess, an easier access to it in a streamlined version, instead of just me just rambling for like an hour about something stupid. So, but there's all kinds to ramble about, believe me, and it's hard not to, really. So first topic on the agenda is the cruise ships, of course. I'm gonna try to limit myself before I do this prologue. There's so much to talk about the cruise ships too, right? They made so many fucking mistakes. Excuse me. But they did. And I can't help but also question, and it's natural to question. That's what we're supposed to do, right? It's just it's part of my inner workings anyway, to at least entertain the facts of possibilities. So, unfortunately, with the unfortunate situation, that it could have been, more of a study venture, let's say. Because here we have a ship, we have this first, outbreak outside of China that we can actually look at and see and visually, besides what China's given us for number, because everybody's really sketchy about China's transparency with, the actual numbers. Because, there's a lot of supporting evidence that's, even they came out and said it, and now, not only that, but it's more the beginning, where it was more important, but now they just don't have the capacity to test. So it's hindering everything, right? Everybody's on quarantine over there. There's like close to 3/4 of the fucking country is on quarantine, like 700-800 million people. Insane, really. So there's a lot to speculate, right? And it could have been a study project to say, hey, let's get some numbers out of this. Let's see how fucking contagious this thing actually is. I don't know. I'd hate to think like that, but in a global level situation, they're not thinking about people's feelings. In situations like this, it's more of a data analysis gathering opportunity. Now, I'm not saying that's what it was. I'm not, but you'd have to question their methods of why. Even I was like, no. Take all the ones that are healthy off right now, that look healthy, put them in a quarantine place. The ones that are showing symptoms or have fever or, symptoms, keep them there, right? Or the ones who might be high risk for some reason, due to their contacts or whatever. But, take the healthy ones off, get them off. And I was like, why the fuck would they just leave everybody on there? Because, the information was flowing out that there was nothing for certain at this time that it was aerosol or that it was airborne or how contagious it was, but there was still no information. But there was, so many reports coming out, and look, here I am rambling again. Sorry. But there's, reports coming out, scientific data that's saying this thing is viciously contagious. So, right, why keep them on the fucking cruise ship? But maybe it was something like that. But, or maybe it was just legitimately like a fucking oops mistake. But like you would think that they know this stuff, right? They know how fucking contagious. Like they'd have to. They got more information than I do. I'm fucking knowing, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. Wouldn't fucking do it that way. But if you were looking for a data analysis type of situation, well, yeah, you would, right? Everybody's on board. We're going to start monitoring people. We're going to monitor everybody. I think it was like every hour or every couple of hours. They were like taking people's temperatures and doing these vitals and stuff like that. And they had a team on there, like a fucking team. The military was there. It was like, it was well fucking secure environment. And one could only wonder, they're just taking numbers, data, gathering, and then finding out who had contacts with where. Probably, there's probably surveillance on that tape or on that video, or sorry, on the ship, right? There's probably cameras on there, so they might be able to do some tracing back to see, okay, well, this person, from left their room, okay, they contacted this person, went to this person. They probably have information to that, right? So it was probably like a real quick data gathering thing. But something happened. That all of a sudden about face US just came and I don't know if it was Japan to say, hey, come get your people, or we're just not dealing with this anymore, because they're struggling with their healthcare system. They really are. They're struggling. So that Japan would have been just like, hey, come get your fucking people, or we're just not dealing with them. Sorry, and maybe that's why they came and did an about face and just so rapidly did a evacuation of those people, like, and broke the quarantine measures, like, that they said that they were going to support at the first. That's why people were saying at the first, like, when this was going down for like ever, the US was saying, no, we got to respect Japan's blah 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 blah, we got to respect their quarantine, and this is the best thing, and it was the way to do it at the time. And all of a sudden, boom, get them out real fast. And it was fast. The fastest any evac happened so far in this outbreak, right? So anyway, that being said, I am gonna go straight into this. And yeah, they're just talking about the cruise ship. It's a reporter asking a question about what they think about why this decision was made. And we all got it was like, what the fuck? But anyway, let's roll it.
That was meant to be a quarantine has turned out to be a vector, or has actually turned out to spread this COVID-19 more than it's done anything to stop it. Thanks.
Was there a question in there, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Could you repeat
Mike, you know me well enough.
The situation on the ship obviously has evolved, and the authorities in Japan obviously initially made a decision to quarantine all the passengers on that ship, which allowed passengers to be kept together in an environment where they were could be observed, and where they could have separate accommodations and everything else. This was much more preferable, obviously, at the time than necessarily having everyone disperse around. But obviously the situation on the ground has changed, and clearly there's been more transmission than expected on the ship, and I think the authorities in Japan are adjusting to that reality now, and taking the necessary public health measures with other countries to evacuate people and deal with their follow-up in a different way. But it's very easy in retrospect to make judgments on public health decisions made at a certain point.
How do you explain it?
I think it's clear that a number have very, very mild symptoms. So I think we need to, again, keep our heads here and put this in perspective. It's an unfortunate event occurring on the ship, and we trust that the authorities in Japan and the governments who are taking back people will be able to follow up those individuals in the appropriate way to ensure that they get the appropriate care if they are cases, and if not, that they are reintegrated into their communities. But yes, it'll be very important to study this particular event and see what the issues have been that have led to transmission to the people who've been on that ship.
It'd be interesting to study the data about the transmission of the people who've been on that ship. That's pretty well saying, you know, but they got data, right? He's not lying. And was it purposefully done like that? You know, like keep them on there. You know, I don't know. It would seem logical of a thing to do because China's being really fucking sketchy about the information, right? And there's no outbreaks really happening anywheres. And as much as these guys are saying, yeah, we got people in there and we got people in the ground, they're not in Wuhan. They're not in that epicenter. They're in Beijing and fucking Hong Kong and Singapore or what's the other one? Shanghai, I think. Mostly, right? And they're not being around anyway. Yeah, it's so touchy, right? It is. And you don't know if that's what they were planning on doing, was using this just to gather data, right? In a sense, it'd be a tough call, it would, but you know, at the highest levels, it wouldn't be about feelings. You know, these people just want data and they just make it happen and send the message down the line, right? So where else? I can't read my own writing, so I'm just gonna say that this is something.
China, 2-3 weeks. So based on this, then it shows that those measures, if well implemented, could have an impact on the propagation of the outbreak, and that's why measures are now taken in Beijing to strengthen the control of the outbreak and postpone the peak, the peak effect, give more time to treat the problem. But in fact, we will know only after some time when those measures are really effective, because it takes more or less, from some studies we have now, around 19 days between the onset of symptoms and the days where people are completely cleared from the virus.
Yeah, but I guess I kind of understand what I wrote there now. It was Beijing, their capital of China. They're under quarantine measures now. Which is, it's don't worry, that's nothing. It was never nothing when they put the first city down before the first, what was it, past 51? 51, 50, no, 55? There's 56, I think, altogether now. Something. It's crazy, right? But yeah, Beijing's got some quarantine measures happening there as well, and Japan. And Japan's got an outbreak on their hands as well. But they're kind of like, they're by China, but they're kind of like not a part of China. They kind of got their own system. But yeah, we're seeing this outbreak, right? Pretty quick. And here is some, this is information about the data from China. And just mentioning that their healthcare is in fact, you know, pretty stressed. And they mention it like, you know, it's you know, this can be expected, you know, kind of thing, but then it's actually down. Like they can't even test this properly anymore. It's they don't have test kits. It's a terrible situation for gathering data, because we can't really gather the data. Yeah, it's a weird place.
Take a look again. Shane, no document behind. Small one just below. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So my first
So
question,
my first
yeah,
question, I have an original question about Dr. Tedros. You mentioned from China Central Television. Sorry to mention that. Dr. Tedros, you mentioned that you are not getting enough data from the other countries outside of China. So what's the problem beside that? Are those countries not willing to provide the data, or what's the reason behind that problem? And also for Dr. Brian, that you just mentioned there's the modeling that 2 days has been delayed for the translation and 2 or 3 weeks for the world, 2 days for China. So that is the WHO modeling, or that's from the China side that you are quoting from?
So if you didn't understand that question, it was asking about how the other data collection was going for the rest of the world, gathering other people's data from other countries, and about whether basically China's data is accurate or not. Yeah, they don't know how to answer that, eh?
To data from all countries, we fully recognise that all the affected countries are under extreme duress, and their primary responsibility is to their own citizens and to dealing with the public health challenge that they face.
Oh, it's not
We
good.
continually ask that they share with us the core data that we need, and I would say that it hasn't been absolutely smooth sailing with any country so far. It's been, because we've had to request a number of countries to speed up their data sharing, but we don't believe this has not been through a lack of transparency. Quite frankly, this has been through the urgency and the difficulties of gathering data in these situations, collating that data, and then sharing it outside the country. And in some cases, there are data protection issues, there are citizen protection issues, there are issues around sharing any kind of line listed or individualized data on.
Really, that's all we gotta hear, because it kind of just rambles on after that. But it's saying like there's so many issues with getting this data, right? And China, as much as they're trying to tell the world, China's being transparent and forthcoming, they're saying that to appease the people. I'm fucking sure of it, right? Because you can't spark an outrage like, well, China's hiding the data, because holy fuck, that would just be right. But there's so many little news breaking, like people are disappearing. The doctors were hushed. Then the 2 reporters went missing. That went mainstream media. That's fucking real, right? And like, where'd these guys just go? Like, people were in contact with these people because they were rebel media, right? And they were going out and they were getting the real facts and trying to get it out to the world, because nobody could. It's hard to do that stuff. You gotta have kind of special skills to get those videos out beyond China's fucking firewall, right? They're when they upload videos, it's like a filter. China can see, they can, yeah, right? They can flag videos, and they know, but the data and the suppression of information, and now we're trying to we're basing all our models, all of our predictions, all of our and they're serious right now. They are, but they're way off, and it's not really funny, but it's funny in a like a holy fuck kind of funny. Holy fuck! Like, what do you do? Because they're having a hell of a time gathering data. That's just at every angle, right? So yeah, that's data, right? And it's still up to date. This is the latest video, right? This hasn't changed from the very fucking first. And I'm gonna show you that. In this video anyway. We're gonna run back to the 22nd, and we're gonna look at some news stories that were happening around then, because I was following this thing, and I got all kinds of juice that's gonna change your vision of what you might not know right now. And if you do, well, it's just gonna solidify it. So, and it's not that I'm trying to cause panic, or I'm trying to bring awareness, because it's just too much. It is. And it's slipping through the cracks, and they're just trying to hold on to it like everything they got. But you know, it's slipping through their fingers every moment passes, and eventually they're, you know, it's going to get so bad they're just going to have to tell people. But when it gets that bad, is it going to be too late? Right? So like, I want to get this information out there so people can have a chance to get themselves prepped. At least take the precautions that, you know, at the very least be aware, you know? Because like, it's, oh my fuck. It is. And we don't know what it is. We still have no data on it whatsoever. So all these like epidemiology fucking tests where, like, you know, they go back and they study all your symptoms and the medical charts and all this shit to kind of make links between things. There's not really a whole lot of links, really. And they still don't have a handle on what it is. But they're making assumptions like, oh yeah, you know, people are fine, and then they're just letting them go. Well, maybe they are, but I don't know. I got to question. Right? I got to question this, and that's just my natural thing to question it and say, well, are they really cured? Do we actually know? Because we know the tests are actually terribly inaccurate right now. They always were, and even the safety protocol measures that they were putting in place before everything, you know, taking people's temperatures. That's all they were doing. You didn't have a temperature, you were good to go. But we know now this spreads and you can have no symptoms. And actually, you can be a super spreader and have no symptoms. Like super spreader, sorry Steve, but super spreader Steve from the UK, right? This guy, he's all, and now he's just better, magically better. You know, he was the most infectious person that we've, and they were calling it an anomaly, right? They couldn't, but there's certain people that are just really sometimes highly more infectious than others. But yeah, so yeah, the data's, it's, we can't suggest anything, right? We don't know anything, but yet they're saying, hey, don't worry, be calm, and we gotta stick to the numbers is what they're stressing. What you know, this is what the data's telling us. And if you listen very close and interpret what they're saying that this is law. This is stone, right? Data is stone. And what we're getting is, you know, not accurate data. So we're making stone decisions based on flawed data. It's just that simple, right? And it was always flawed. Fucking right it was. I don't care. Call me a, you know, conspiracy theorist. Do I have the 100% facts? No. But do I smell a dirty rat? Fuck yeah. God damn it. It's bad, right? It is. And you just gotta take your time and do what you can to do, right? And prep and be, just, you know, if you still gotta do your thing, if you feel like you still need to go out and live your daily life and still go out and, I don't know, I'd put on a fucking scuba suit. If I was in a big city, I don't know. If it was me personally, I'd be gone somewhere, grandma's house, in the fucking country somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, right. In-laws or something. Nope. No. So it's a tough call, right, on all levels about how to react to this, about, you know, who can take it so much serious, like where do you draw the line, even to personal safety, right? Like when do you, it's it's a handful, right? And like you could just be like, no, it's not that bad, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, I got it. Everybody in my neighborhood's got it. Holy fuck, lots of people in my city got it. But it's not that bad outside of, you know, China right now. Like, but China didn't start like it is now. It started just with, you know, just with one, or, you know, at least, you know, some kind of, yeah, it would have started with one, really. So, and look how long it took. Like, it shut down a country of 1.4 billion people in less than 50 days. I don't know. Don't take my advice though. I'm just gonna lay it out and you can make your own fucking choices. So yeah, I got a weird way of doing things. I'm sorry, but at least I got a method, man. Look, I got papers. Yay, papers. Fuck. I think I'm doing worse now that I got a list. Because now I can organize my thoughts and I can't fucking help but just ramble on about them. So, back to the video. We're going to take a look at the next one. About their data collections again. And this is about like their scientific gathering of their models, right? Like this question comes to say, well, you know, are your models accurate? Where are you getting your information from? Cereal box, if you really want to know. It's just on the back of the Fruit Loops box. Little puzzle that you got to trace the little, you know.
These are not WHO data. These are data coming from the expert network we have, and we conduct.
It's coming from the expert network that they have. Don't let that fool you. China's in that expert network, right? Don't let that fool you. They're not going to single them out. They can't single them out, right? Because that's going to cause a big fucking problem. Because if China pulls out, and they're a really sketchy country, they're a sovereign country. They can do whatever the hell they want. They don't, you know, they can do whatever the hell they want inside their borders. They really can. And they are. So, they, you know, if they decide to pull out or, you know, stop communications or, you know, sharing data or whatever, you know, it could hinder a lot of processes, right? So, you know, everybody's got to play nice with China. Right? Really. China's an arsehole. And we're just kind of fucking feeding into this prick, right? Excuse my language. Just to keep contacts going, right? Just to keep communication and whatever kind of shitty communication it might be. At least it's, you know, at least it's not a wall yet.
The teleconference on a weekly basis with a number of modeling groups across the world. And so those groups usually are publishing their data on the scientific literature, but we have the luck to have some preprint articles, and this is where it comes from. But just a note of caution, you know, modeling is based on assumptions, so the modeling are getting better when you have better data to put into the model. So currently they are still on those public health measures using assumptions, and I hope that...
Are you hearing this shit? Our data is based on assumptions. Our model are based on assumptions. Just kind of like, fuck. Do you want to hear that again? Let's hear that again. Just in case you didn't fucking pay attention the first time. Because, like, god damn it. Fucking stupid fucking fuck. And they're making... I'm very upset because, you know why? These are overly bureaucratic fucking... Oh my god, they're so by the book. They're right by the book, and they will not veer from that book. Do you know why? They have huge pressure on their shoulders right now, and they will not veer from protocol. And those protocol are there for a purpose, and they will follow it now. They have to. And this data is preventing them from really telling us what's going on. So, or the policy and procedures are actually preventing them, because, you know, so blah blah blah, right? How long is it going to take to get actual facts, right? You got to think of that. Fucking world seriously be burning down around them, and they'd say run the numbers again. Run those numbers again, just to make sure, you know, I can see the fire coming, but fuck it. Let's get some more research funds on the go. Do another study.
These are data coming from the expert network we have, and we conduct a teleconference on a weekly basis with a number of modeling groups across the world. And so those groups usually are publishing their data on the scientific literature, but we have the luck to have some preprint articles, and this is where it comes from. But just a note of caution, you know, modeling is based on assumptions, so the modeling are getting better when you have better data.
Did you see her laugh whenever she said the modeling is based on assumptions? Because, like, she can't even hold it back. Like, how stupid that is. It's like, oh my fuck. And the modeling is what they're talking about. This modeling is our predictions about how this is, you know, how bad it is. So, we don't know how bad it is. But it's bad right now. But it's actually probably worse, but because they do acknowledge that the modeling is off, right? It's not less. Do you think it's less that because, you know, there's only 1.4 billion people essentially on lockdown. Oh, by the way, they stopped all the mail today. Or actually, well, it was yesterday. But they stopped all the post. All post. Everything. It's done. If you send a letter to somebody, it's not going to China. If somebody tries to send a letter out of China, it's not getting out. Seriously. No commercial. No fucking federal. No what? Nothing. Nothing. So, I don't know. Is it the flu? It's gonna pack a punch. Holy fuck. All right, but they're not giving information and because they don't have the data. Right? They don't have the numbers coming in, the actual numbers. But they can't get the actual numbers. We need an outbreak outside of China to really study this. The cruise ship was the first one. And then yeah, things just kind of anyway. So, let's keep going. We'll never get through this. But it's all information, right? It's all information, and it's real. It's not fucking bullshit. If you want to go search it, search it. It's like, this is the best information I can give you. You know, it's coming right from the fucking horse's mouth. And they're saying they don't have any information. But hey, you know, everything's shut down, and there's cases all over the world. UK's got a big problem on their hands. So does Africa. Oh, and by the way, people had thought this was going to die out in the spring or the summer because of the warmer weather. Africa now has transmission. So, you know, it's not snowing or it's not cold in Africa, right? It's pretty hot there. This thing survives in the heat. This thing survives in the cold. It's not going anywhere. Right? It's just the way it is. If it's like you can't, if it's in Africa and it's getting passed around, obviously the heat doesn't bother this thing, right? So, you know, because they were all saying, "Oh yeah, no, don't worry, it's all gonna, yeah." Almost every prediction they made so far, just especially when they compare it to like past viruses. Well, it's not as bad as SARS. No, fuck. You know, when it first outbreaks, and then it only surpassed SARS for the death count within 2 months. And SARS was around for I think like 14 months. So yeah, it beat SARS out by a year. Yeah. And that's what we're noticing on paper officially. You know, that's not the real numbers either. So take a deep breath. And I'm not trying to freak anybody out. I'm really not. But holy fuck, like seriously, somebody listen to me. I mean, if some people won't be able to process it, they'll just be, oh, that guy's fucking crazy. And be just doing their shit one day and all of a sudden fucking, what the fuck? That's how it'll happen. It'll happen just like that. That's how it happens in China. You won't really notice it unless you're really paying attention to like certain things going, you know, shit in the bed first. And the first thing to go down is going to be the healthcare system, right? you start seeing the hospitals overflowing, but you won't see them really overflowing because they're just sending people home who have this. They're just sending them home to quarantine in the West, in the States, and places like that. But when you see the higher cases, like, or the more serious cases starting to show up, as this thing creeps through, yeah, they're saying, well, everybody's got mild cases. I don't, not a doctor, but I really don't think that you get cured from this. I have a funny feeling. All right. So here is the question about data again. And this is the death rate, but they have no answer. So we'll go into the question.
Data that came out yesterday, the 44,000 cases, that really shows that the death rates are going down as the outbreak progresses. And I mean, there's a few questions about that because not all the people that would have died would be counted in that. And I just wondered if that fits with what you have seen generally as a general trend, that the death rate was higher at the beginning of the outbreak and is getting smaller. Thank you.
Yes, it's very difficult to make that judgment purely from the data that's been presented in the paper yesterday.
So they don't have an answer, really, right? So there's no sense in just letting them ramble on because it's just going to do circular conversations and sidestep like they're trained to do, right? They're addressing the public. Do you think that they're going to alarm the public? Their number one job right now is to not alarm you. And everything that they have to report right now, they're finding the best way to sugarcoat it. I promise you. Oh, we can't tell it like that. We have to rearrange this, and make it sound less of a take, for instance, when they called it novel coronavirus. Novel just is like a fancy name for new. Just means new coronavirus. But people, when they hear new, it's like a trigger word. They're like, oh, that's new. Oh my god. That's the first thing. Seriously. So novel, it's like, oh, it's softer, gentler. Am I wrong? Hell no. There are these guys are masters, right? They really are. So, what else are we going through? 22. Here, and we get an acknowledgement of the pressure on the system. And it's not, it's an acknowledgement, but it, they definitely, they don't, they're not going to paint the picture that it really is, right? And it's a billion people locked down, but don't worry, it's not nothing to see here.
In the beginning, because only the severe cases were presenting, a few weeks later the pattern was entirely different. So that's an important factor. There is also the fact that the case fatality is different inside Hubei and Wuhan to the other provinces. And that may also reflect the fact that the pressure on the system in Hubei has been so severe. And the lessons that have been learned in Hubei and Wuhan are being applied elsewhere. People are getting into earlier critical care.
Okay, so he does admit that, the pressure on the system, and that's going to be a problem getting data, right? How much? It's not just a little. It can't be just a little. It's not like they're just missing a few cases here and there. Come on. Fuck, there's, I guarantee you. Actually, I can't guarantee you. Actually, I can. I'm just gonna say it because it's my fucking opinion. And I believe there's millions infected. Millions. Tens of thousands dead. Millions infected, tens of thousands dead. Fucking has to be. Has to be. You would never shut down your whole country. And China's doing this. It's China's go on this. Right? And we've all seen the videos. Right? We've all seen the videos coming out of there. I don't know. If you're brushing them off as fake, well, maybe you're watching the wrong videos. Or you're not just being critical enough and taking it serious. So pressure on the system, yeah, major problems, right? It's just a logistical disaster everywhere for gathering data. That's just the facts. Just the facts. It really is. So here's vaccine update. You know, there's been a lot of speculation. Like, and this is fake news. This is what they're really talking about when they talk about fake news and shit. Because there's people like claiming that the vaccine has been found, and oh, you know, there's all, you know, oh my fuck. I seen so many stupid articles, and I seen one from CNBC, and it was like a live broadcast thing, and this guy was going on like they found the vaccine, and I was like, I don't think you'll have a job after this. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of fake news like that kind of going around. But here, you know, it's just the way it is. It's going to take at least if everything goes right. And we don't have such an outbreak that, you know, it collapses fucking society from the inside out. You know, it's within a year and a half for a vaccine. It, you know, it's just the way it is. You know, they might have candidates right now, but that doesn't mean nothing. Just really doesn't. Really doesn't, I promise you. They still got to run tests. They still got to run trials. And that stuff that takes months and months and months to gather results like that. It really does. So, here is the vaccine.
Yes, please, Adam.
Go ahead.
Excellent. Just wondering, do you have an update on how vaccine development is progressing and when you might expect first clinical trials in humans to begin?
Thank you.
We don't have new data since the research meeting, and at this meeting they were discussing about having a candidate vaccine in around 16 weeks from now. But again, this would be just to have the candidate, and then, depending on the safety test, deciding if it will be used in humans. So it's still a matter of weeks. Months.
Yes.
Many weeks.
Yeah, and while we're very
Yeah. So many months for this vaccine, right? Don't expect to see any kind of miracle breakthrough, because it's just not going to happen. It takes time for this stuff to develop. Just the way it is. You know, we can't rush it. And you can't deliver it to a population unless, you know, kind of like some effects that it's going to have, right? Because this stuff isn't just like changing the engine oil in your car or something. So, no. So, and they finish off this. They finish off this update here. It's kind of, they got a lot of little information out of this last little bit. But again, it kind of sums up the vaccine. Stressing the window of opportunity. You know, so it's and he's been stressing this window of opportunity for a long time. And it's only getting smaller as the time goes by, right? It's constantly getting smaller, even while we're sleeping, and I don't try to freak anybody out. Like, oh my god. But it is. It's not going to sleep. And it's not going to worry about us collecting data about it. It's just going to keep getting stronger. While we're sitting here trying to fucking figure out what's going on, it's just going to... Could it possibly? You know, it's still wasting time. It's still all costing time. Alright. Let's see what they got to say about all this at the end.
Future, to prepare for the future. As Mike said, we're already discussing with partners on the vaccine development, but the approach is striking a balance and giving the right focus, especially to the things that we should do today. But one thing I would like to underline is there is a window of opportunity. If you see the case fatality rate or the number of deaths in the rest of the world, it's really low. It's 3 out of 804. Even the number of cases, 804, is low, but it doesn't mean that it will stay the same. This is a window of opportunity that should not be missed. That's what I would like to underline. And in order not to miss this opportunity, we should do everything to contain it and finish within that window of opportunity. And that's why we're speeding up to help countries, especially with weaker health systems, in order to really minimize the impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tedros. Thank you to Dr. Ryan and Dr. Liang. I will conclude with this. Just to let you know that
Yeah, right. So that was you know, the most recent update, February 18th. Still no information, basically, right? They don't know anything more now than they did when they fucking first found out, or at least if they do, they're not telling us. Right? It's only natural to be skeptical at this point, because this isn't something that's just, you know. When was the last time you ever heard of a city being locked down or quarantined, except outside of like a Hollywood movie? Go Google the last time a city was ever quarantined. And then go Google whenever a country was quarantined. You're not going to find it. Because it never happened. Not for 10,000 people. No, they never quarantined them. Not for 20,000 people. No. Not for Ebola. Not even for Ebola. Ebola was pretty wild. I remember I was high on mushrooms and I was like, holy fuck, Ebola's going to get us all. It was a big thing at the time, right? But it wasn't like this. You know, they didn't stop Ebola. They didn't stop Ebola. They didn't stop travel. You know, they didn't stop any of that stuff. They didn't do anything. It was just kind of, you know, you seen the people in the suits and you heard about it, and you know, there was a couple of cases here and there, and it wasn't globally spread. You know, they declared a global emergency of international concern. That's huge. I don't know if you really realize how much that really means, because that's big. It really is. And now they're just on the verge of declaring a pandemic. It's gonna happen. But you know, we're only just time away from this getting worse. Because we can't catch all the cases. And they're saying, well, you know, it's mild cases. Well, what does that actually mean? Does that mean that it's okay? I don't know, because they don't know anything about this. They haven't done enough case studies to figure out if anybody's actually cleared of this. Because the funny thing, but there's actually still particles of the virus in the samples. And now they said that they don't know what that means. If the virus is dead or alive. Let's see if I can find that for you. It's not going to be in there. It might be in here somewhere. Damn it. You know what? That's going to take me too long to find that. It is, but it was who said this and confirmed it was the Ontario Health Minister, and they were doing this update on one of the patients, or a few of these patients who were testing negative, but they did confirm, and they don't know why, but there are particles, I guess, of the virus left in the samples when they're doing these tests. But you know, it's like they're saying, well, the virus it must be dead. We don't know what that means, you know, but they're like, the tests are showing negative. So what the hell does that mean? Does it, you know, has any other virus, you know, had residues left over in tests? I don't know. because she even said, she's like, we're not sure what that means. We don't know if they're alive or if they're dead, but the samples are negative. And that was the Ontario Health Minister said that. And I do have the video, and I don't know, I'll find it somewhere, somebody. But you just trust my word on it, because I wouldn't fucking lie to you. Really. It would take me a goddamn long time to find that video. So yeah. Now what else? Where are we going? Do you know what? I'm not sure how I'm going to categorize these. I will. I'm gonna do these in separate streams, but I'm gonna start right back up again on this. And I'm gonna go into January 22nd stream from the World Health Organization, and I'm gonna go into some news that was floating around that time, some videos that were coming out of China around that time, all kinds of trips down memory lane, so we don't forget how we got here, right? Because that's what they want you to forget. Don't forget, I didn't forget, and I'm gonna not let you guys forget. If you don't want to forget, or if you don't even know, if you might not even, because most people weren't even aware of it at this time. I was collecting lots of little tidbits of articles, and it was big back then. It was a shit show back then. I don't know. I can only imagine that's even worse now. It's just because it's not, it's not getting better. So yeah, I'm going to end the stream here, and then I'm going to, I'm going to categorize this one February 18th update, and then I will do January 22nd update. So yeah, 10-15 minutes. If you guys want to join around, yeah, I really appreciate it. If you're a sub, or not even sub, just like fucking share it, get the word out. But just sub so that, if you guys don't want to miss any updates kind of thing, right? I don't even care if you like the video. I really don't. Just share it, get it out there, get some word out there. Big breath. All right. So, see you in a few. Thanks.